They're not getting no Instagram, right?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shelly Speaks Truth right here on 2rawfortv.tv. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. And just to get some housekeeping out of the way, what we do around here is we usually are streaming from a few more social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, X, at times Instagram, those other platforms. But that is not for the entirety of the show. If you would like to see the entire show from start to finish, you will have to come on over to 2rawfortv.tv, and that is where the entire show will be broadcasting. And that is the number 2 Raw, the number 4. Again, that is the number 2 Raw, the number 4 TV.tv. And once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Share this video out on all of your social media platforms. Let everyone know we are live right now. Tell a friend to have everyone come on over and join us. Now, today I want to address a news story that went very, very viral. It's been getting talked about consistently for about the past week or so. And for those of you who don't know, ICE, I don't really know how to frame this because the mainstream, lamestream, liberal media is trying to almost pretty much make it seem as if Black people were detained and are at risk of being deported by ICE. Black Americans, that is, Black people who are the descendants of the foundational Black people in this country, meaning the people that went through the slave trade in America and all of that, the people that built the nation. And I really wanted to address this tonight because I just feel like it's completely ridiculous. It's a completely ridiculous notion for anyone to even be insinuating that Black Americans are going to be deported.
Deported.
They keep saying detained, but their whole goal is to try to make it seem like there's some type of correlation between the people out in Chicago that were detained by ICE. I heard some people were detained for several hours. And why?
Black Americans?
Yes.
FBA, I should say.
Right. Foundational Black Americans were detained, but there's so much within that particular situation that is being left out that I want to address tonight.
Detained doesn't really mean anything. Detained just means detained. Just mean like, hold on a minute.
You would think that. And people with common sense, I guess you have some common sense. They know that if someone is detained, that doesn't have anything to do with ICE and deportations. But you have people that are, like I said, this particular story did go extremely viral. And I guess the Democrats felt like they had something to run with because this entire time, ever since the ICE raids and things like that have started, there has been people going to the streets protesting ICE, but Black Americans, for the most part, have been staying away from the ICE protests because if we're going to be honest, immigration is not really an issue that affects Black Americans. And I'm not saying that Black Americans who want to go out there and protest are necessarily doing anything wrong if that's what they choose to do. You know, I'm not telling anybody what they can and cannot do. But for the most part, foundational Black Americans have not been really stomping at any of these ICE protests and things like that. And people have been they've been feeling a way about that. They've been saying, you know,
We on
Black
that.
Americans, where the hell you at? Why are you not out here protesting with us? Why are you not, you know, standing with us?
You know the struggle. You know the struggle. You know how these people do. You know how these people do more than everybody else. Why the hell you ain't trying?
Well, I will say this. The people who wanted Kamala Harris to win, this 92% that they keep talking about, they're saying 92% of Black women voted for Kamala. 92% of Black women did not vote for Kamala. I keep having to reiterate this point. 92% of the Black women who voted did vote for Kamala. But this is what I mean by these people when they're trying to be deceptive, because when you hear 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris, the average person is going to think, okay, well, 92% of Black women and Black women's totality in the country voted for Kamala. And nothing could be further from the truth. Black Americans in this election that we just had, they stayed home by the tens of millions. A lot of Black Americans did not vote this time around because they didn't want to vote for Trump. They really didn't want to vote at all because Black Americans, they did have demands this election cycle, and people pretty much, you know, the people running for office, they didn't really pay too much attention to the Black community. The Democrats, they, at the end, when they saw that Black people weren't really rocking with them like that, Kamala Harris came up with this so-called Black agenda that fell flat because it was a nothing burger. So a lot of Black American people did stay home. Now you had Black American people who voted for Trump because the immigration issue became so overwhelming in Black communities. And Black people were the ones who really started to shine a light on the harms that were being caused in the community by mass immigration. Not just immigration, mass illegal immigration. You know, the Biden-Harris administration, they allowed for illegals to come in the country by the tens of millions, and they dumped the illegals in several different Black communities across the country. And this was something that was being brought to the forefront for years, and it was falling on deaf ears until the election cycle came back around, because the Republicans, they could use that as a way to garner support from the Black community, trying to pretend like they were, you know, in support of the Black community when we all know that they're not. But it was a very good thing for them to run on, because mass immigration was a really, really big issue in the Black community. And the Democrats, they have been trying to kind of, I guess, regain the support from the Black community since they got crashed out so horribly in the last election, with, again, tens of millions of Black people staying home. That could have been votes for the Democratic Party if they had just simply taken the demands of the Black community seriously. They didn't do it, so they end up losing drastically in this past election. But now what they're trying to do with this immigration issue, they're trying to get Black Americans riled up so that they can garner support. And Black Americans just aren't really falling for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. So now you have Democrat shills and tethers who are basically getting online and making TikTok video after YouTube video after whatever social media platform they can jump on and make a video, and using this situation in Chicago as some type of, I guess, aha moment where they're like, see, Black Americans, we told you to come out here and, stand with us during these ICE protests. And now look, ICE has raided your homes. And okay, let's just get one thing straight. Let me just be very as clear and concise as I can possibly be. Detainments and deportations are not the same thing. They're not. I don't know.
The fact that you got to come on air and say that is ridiculous, but go ahead.
I want to play this video. I just want to play this video because I don't want to just be sitting up here saying stuff. I want to play a clip of a guy. And I'm not going to call the guy a tether, but he's giving tether vibes. He's a suspected tether. So, like I said, there's people who are like, we told you needed to come out here and stand with us during these ICE protests because blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to go ahead and run this clip so you guys can see the type of lunacy that people are online just spewing. So we're going to go ahead and run that clip and we'll be right back.
Why are we not hearing anything?
Well, we're running the clip, but the clip
like the audio
ain't running.
Like the audio don't want to play. Oh, hold on.
Come on, audio. I don't have time for this
I don't got
today.
time for you. We gonna reload this thing. Cancel that. Hold on. Why is this thing being stupid right now?
Lord have mercy. Okay, well, while we're getting the clips together,
yeah,
I just want to continue to reiterate to the Democrat shills and the lying tethers who continue to try to make it seem like Black Americans are at some type of risk for being deported. I really have a question for the people that think Black Americans are going to be deported. Where are Black Americans going to be deported to?
That was going to be one of my questions. You stole my question.
Like, where are we going to be deported to? That's
steal my question.
That's the question. Like that, and that's the question that a lot of people had. Like, why do you all keep saying, like, where's this narrative coming from? Like, do you not understand what a Black American is? Where's the confusion coming in at? And even if you wanted to say, okay, they'll send you back to Africa, where? They're going to pick an African nation out of a hat? Like, we're not citizens. We're not. Let's just say that all of us came from Africa, which we know that's not the case. We know that Black Americans were on this landmass before anybody else even got here.
Right.
But let's just go with their logic and philosophy on the situation. If we came from African nations 500 years ago, none of those nations exist anymore. So where would they send us? I mean, it's just so, I don't know, to me, it's just such a ridiculous notion that people are even, like, they're having these discussions on mainstream news. You have who are supposed to be serious journalists acting like this is something that is even remotely a reality. And it's not. I was watching a CNN panel with Abby Phillips and Van somebody. I don't remember his name. Not Van Jones.
Do you understand?
It's another Van. I think he used to work at TMZ. And they're having an argument with their so-called conservative that's on there, Scott Jennings, I believe that's his name. And they're really arguing back and forth with this man. And it was just like, How y'all gonna let this Republican sit up here and eat y'all up on y'all own liberal network like this?
All right, I got the video set up.
I hope the volume is gonna come on this time.
Yeah, shout outs to all social media, right? After this, while I'm playing this video, I'm going to shut down all social media. So you want to
Well,
tell
why
them?
we can't let our social media's folks see it?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to see the first one while it's playing, but I'm
All
going to be
right,
closing
so
out
y'all go ahead and come on over
because,
to Raw for TV.tv.
and to answer your question, like why? Because we're already 18 minutes in on social media.
Oh, this time is flying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, social media, it's been fun. Come on over to Raw for TV.tv, the number 2, Raw, the number 4, TV.tv, and come join us for the rest of the show.
Detaining black people in Chicago. ICE is detaining black people in Chicago. Do you understand? We told y'all it was going to start with Hispanic people and immigrants, and they were already going after Haitians, already going after my people. So I've been saying this, but like they're now detaining ICE is now detaining black people in Chicago. They just raided a whole apartment complex. Ain't that crazy? They raided a whole apartment complex. And it didn't matter what you were doing in your apartment. You had people roll up in your house, detain you. And if you had a warrant out, they kept you. That's like, what are you doing in my house in the first place? They're detaining black people in Chicago. So, okay, all right. So, what now? When does when do we stop working and start working? Like, because I don't understand. Like, what do we do now?
Can I chime in?
Go ahead.
Because he asked a couple of questions, like he said a couple of things, right? And like you
I'm
pointed
glad
out.
you heard it, because I
Hmm?
I'm glad you could hear it, because
But he asked a couple of questions, like for instance, he asked what how does it feel to have ICE come into and raided a whole apartment complex, right? In the hood. So
I'm sorry.
no,
Go ahead.
so ICE is doing their job, right? They're looking for immigrants, right? They raid a building from the explanation. And if you had warrants, they kept you, right? They detained you. They can't deport you because you're American, so they're gonna send you over to wherever you're wanted at. But it's like the things that he's pointing out. He's pointing out having a warrant and like having this disruption, and no matter what you were doing, ICE coming running through your building. Yeah, understandable, all good and everything. But at the same time, he didn't explain where ICE is really being a problem for black people in everything that he said. I didn't hear it. If he said it, it missed me, type of thing.
They're trying to imply that ICE is going to be an issue for Black Americans
Where? How?
because they came and ran up in the building. Yeah, they came and ran up in the building, sir, because Venezuelans were in that building.
Hmm?
Trinidad gang members were in that building.
Ooh.
And they were going in there to get their targets. Now, there were black people in that building. And I don't know how long he's been in America, because he said, if I'm not mistaken, he said he was Haitian, right?
Yeah, yeah, Haitian descent. Yeah, He's probably like first generation Haitian or something like that. I mean, first generation American.
I don't know how long he's been in this country,
He sounded like he was born here.
but he might have been born here, or he could have come here, several years ago, or whatever the case may be. But sir, I'm just confused. Like, what do y'all think y'all can tell Black Americans about America that they don't already know? What do you think is happening in America to anybody that hasn't already happened to Black Americans? You're talking about them coming in a building and detaining people. Let me just impress something upon people's minds. There isn't anything that is happening to any of these immigrants that has not happened to a Black American. Black America is home. First of all,
but that's why. But that's what. But that's you're proving the point about why Black Americans should be out there protesting.
No, we shouldn't. Why should we be protesting ICE for illegals who need to go home and get their paperwork straight? That's not a Black American issue.
But you understand the struggle, though.
It doesn't matter. That's not our struggle.
Oh, so
they have their own struggle. We've moved on from all that type of, we got some other stuff happening. That's like, our energy needs to be diverted into what we're petitioning the government for and stuff like that. We're not petitioning the government to keep illegals in the country. That's not something we're interested in doing. But getting back to him talking about ICE